I will be here throughout the season. It's the Coach's Show. It starts 1 week from this Saturday at 10:30. The Buccaneers and the Jets Saturday afternoon at 1, right here on Channel 44.
Pops, Monday at 7:30.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wyche Report 1994. On this kickoff edition of our program, we're going to take you back to the preseason, one that saw the Buccaneers finish 2-2, and we'll tell you how that affects the regular season, which starts on Sunday when the Buccaneers go to Chicago to take on the Chicago Bears. Sam Wyche is here. We have a good show. Stick around. It's the premiere of the Wyche Report right here on Channel 44.
The Bucs are here. WTOG, Channel 44 Sports presents the Wyche Report. Tonight's show is being brought to you in part by your Tampa Mazda dealers and by National Aviation School.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 1994 Wyche Report. I'm Bob Alvarez, along with the Buccaneer head coach, Sam Wyche, and we'll be here throughout the season on Saturday evenings. Sam, want to start with last week, the death of Mr. Culverhouse, and I guess maybe some of your thoughts about that and what you've talked to the team about and how that's affected them.
Well, I hope this doesn't affect them this week, except in a motivational way, that this is Mr. Culverhouse's team. A lot of the players are on this football team because he said go for it and let's put the best team we can put together for this season. But Mr. C meant a lot to a lot of us. Some of the players didn't know him very well because he was not one of those owners that was always standing there tapping his toe. He wanted to win, but he delegated that to us. Mrs. Culverhouse came out and expressed her feelings about how Mr. C was looking forward to this season, and I hope that those are the memories that the guys have. I don't think it'll be a distraction, though.
I think Rich McKay summed it up pretty well. He said that, you know, most of the people here in the community know Mr. C only from what they've read in the paper, but the fact that the guy was a competitor and he really wanted to win.
Yeah. Well, there's no question about that. I mean, this is the ultimate competitor. I think he was a success in his own mind. In fact, he had said to me that he had been successful in just everything he had done, you know, every adventure he'd been in or business venture, except he didn't feel fulfilled with the Buccaneers, and that was my charge to get this thing going, and I think we're well on our way to do that. But I don't think everyone really knew the whole guy unless you spent a lot of time. He had a sense of humor that was dynamite, a tremendous competitor, a brilliant person, business mind, very much a resource person for other people that were doing quite well in their own right, but would come to him for advice. This was a special guy, and it's going to leave a hole in this community as well as in our team, but we're going to carry on and in part for him.
The trustees met with the press earlier this week, and I know a lot of the folks watching our show and the fans in general in Tampa Bay are a little worried about what's going to happen now, but what can you tell us a little bit about the operation of the team right now?
Well, nothing will change. Before the passing of Mr. C, I reported to him. Rich McKay and myself and Jerry Angelo and Tim Ruskell in the day-to-day runnings of the team, of course the position coaches, none of that will change. And if you think about it now, that you remember the Miami Dolphins were for sale for a long time before anything happened. The only teams that I can remember in recent history that have changed cities changed without an ownership change. You know, Al Davis took the Raiders from Oakland to L.A., and the Irsay family took the Colts into Indianapolis from Baltimore. So these aren't things that happen very often. They won't happen fast. It's something that the trust is obligated to listen to, but only the right thing will be done. And right now, this team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we're out for this season to be a good one.
We're anxious for Sunday. We're going to talk about the Bears. We're going to take a look at the Buccaneers depth chart and go back to the preseason. We'll do all that when the Wyche Report continues.
Kicker Michael Husted finished 1993, completing 16 of 22 field goals, including this 57-yarder.
Fresh is excellent. First choice.
Back to the Wyche Report. Sam, let's talk about the preseason. Game 1 to Game 4, are you pretty happy with the way things went this year?
Well, I am, but you have to break the games down in order to be happy. If somebody's sitting out in Topeka, Kansas saying, let's look at what the Bucs did, they're going to say, well, you barely beat the Bengals, and they're not a real strong team coming into this year. The Seattle Seahawks blew you away. That's what the score looked like. That's not exactly what happened, but that's what they would perceive. And You beat Miami, but you probably got lucky, and then of course you lost the last one to the New York Jets. And so there's no flags going off anywhere that the Bucs are a different kind of team, but we are. This is the best football team this town has seen in a long time, and I think it's measurably better. I don't think it's just a little bit better that's going to crawl its way up. I don't know what will happen this Sunday or the next Sunday, but I know that the so much better football team is going to be on the field. It's going to take a better effort to beat us.
Okay, speaking of the team and the depth of this team, let's go ahead and take a look at some of it. And we start with quarterback. Craig, once again, your man.
Craig Erickson had a great preseason. And here's a fellow that came in with all the pressures that come with having a #1 draft pick at your position, earned the job. Now, this was not handed to him by you know, the fact that Trent was not here or that Casey Weldon wasn't playing well. As you can see, the numbers are all very good for all the quarterbacks. Casey played very well. Trent in the late start has come on and done beautifully. But clearly the #1 guy for us is Craig Erickson. He is a different player. The maturity is there. The leadership that comes out of the experience of playing quarterback for a year is showing up.
Next we'll talk about the running backs. Vince didn't get a lot of work in the preseason. Was that, I guess, because you know what he can do, or?
Well, we had some new guys. Of course, we wanted to bring Eric Redd along, but Vince Workman, we do know. You can see that really our running game, the numbers aren't real good when you talk about average per carry. We'd like a little better. We'd like for them to be more like what Mazio Royster carried there. But we've got some potential. There's one of them, number 32, Eric Redd out of Florida. Vince Workman, Mazio Royster. Our two big backs, of course, are going to be carrying the ball, and then we got Vernon Turner, a specialist.
Courtney Hawkins, will he play at all Sunday?
Courtney is not going to play this Sunday. He's got just tenderness in that hand. We'd like for him to be there. So potentially Lawrence Dawsey and Courtney Hawkins, who I guess could have been you know, projected as our two starters at one point, won't be ready to go for this opening game. But the good news is everybody's name that you see up there is playing like a starter. We don't have a guy that I can tell you is a backup player. They're all starters. That's the way you have to play. When you go in the game, you have to play as if you were the starter.
And you catch criticism, but the acquisition of Willie Green looks pretty darn good right now.
Yeah, well, looks pretty well. I get criticized because of the way I get out of bed. I mean, you know, that's part of the game. But the Willie Green is a professional. He's come to us after having some really good years in Detroit, and he has helped us. He's out there in the middle of the day at lunchtime running patterns against air. I mean, this is a guy that works at it. You see right here, this is a move that Willie made. This is just a little slide move, but it takes a lot of time to perfect knowing when you're cut off and when to slide, and the quarterback being able to read you like that.
Tight ends, naturally the acquisition of Jackie Harris, a big help to the offense this year.
Well, Jackie Harris is one of the top players in the league at his position. Ty J. Armstrong, Dave Moore, and then the rookie Harold Bishop. We've got as strong a tight end position as anybody in football. I don't think anybody can look at that list and compare it to theirs and say, we got you beat. The Bucs have a strong one. Jackie doesn't have all the numbers from preseason because he didn't play a lot during the preseason, but we were going to make sure that he was ready but not overused because it all starts this Sunday.
The shoulder, is this something that he's just going to have to play in a little bit of pain this year?
It looks like he may until, you know, he'll go through a game or two where he doesn't have a lot of, that's really where it happened right there. He just fell funny on it, so it's not a dislocation, it's just a bruise.
The offensive line, in what I've seen from the preseason this year, playing very well, very well.
Well, they're playing very well. Tim Irwin, who we picked up from the Minnesota Vikings, solidified a lot of things for us. It allowed us to strengthen the left guard position, and without Vern here this year, we needed to have somebody step in there. Charles McCray has come into his own. He's going to be a good football player, and it took him a little bit of time. He took the heat because he was a #1, but we've got a good offensive line this year.
Talk a little bit more, if you can, about McCray. And I've read some things that he was in the weight room a lot and things like that. Have you seen kind of I guess, rededication from him, or?
Well, I don't really think there was a rededication. He just kept at it. You know, he stayed the course, and Brad Roll's been working with him. He